Yeah, welcome to Podbox, also known as Joshcast. Let's go.
Newly newly rebranded as Josh
We
Cast.
are
If you
the
want
new
to
brand.
learn the secrets to life, the universe, and everything, you've come to the right place.
Okay. Right. Oh, it's pitch black. I've just gotten back in the game. No. I just literally immediately started talking about game. It's fine. Anyway.
Welcome, everybody.
Nice.
Today we won't be talking about Minecraft.
Yeah. Not in the
We're
slightest.
definitely not playing
That's the
Minecraft
main
We could
right
talk
theme
now.
about
of this
Minecraft
podcast.
later on, actually, like just the genuine topic of Minecraft.
What's the morality of Minecraft?
You kill everything you see.
Is this how
But
we
yeah,
want to
Some
raise our children?
human farming.
Welcome to Podbox, guys. So today we have our lovely special guest, Josh here.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yo.
I'm Josh.
Okay,
Is that
nice.
it?
Good intro.
Oh my god! Wow, I guess it's so
Very-
good at introducing.
Very succinct. Josh, how old are you? Are you a human?
I'm about 21. I
Mhm.
turned 21, so that's probably why. I am a human. I am in IT, so I know about podcasts.
What's your?
Ooh.
Oh, I was about to ask what's your occupation. You just answered it. Fine.
Yeah, that's my occupation.
But yeah. So the topic you've chosen for this lovely podcast is, morality. So, would you like to just
Yeah.
talk about that?
Morality. What, you want me to just generally talk about it?
Well, talk about it like, so what do you define as morality? That's a good place to start.
That's a very good question. Morality, according to my definition, it's like a set of rules that we impose on ourselves, that we view as like kind of the ultimate way of
Oh
decision
shit!
making.
So. Didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, guys. I was trying to click a button on my keyboard. Right, let me turn that off.
Other
So
people
that's
don't
I
be able
just
to hear
love
that.
hearing Josh just going really deep, and then it suddenly goes, something's in my head.
I'm sorry, I forgot to turn that off. So I'll try and make sure that doesn't happen again.
Oh, fucking hell.
Sorry, carry on,
No,
Josh.
it's fine.
Carry on.
Please carry on, Josh.
Did you actually hear my answer?
Partially.
Partially, yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. And then for me, like, the thing that we use to determine what's right or wrong is to do with well-being, which we can get into later, because I'm a utilitarian. So, I'm about to die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think morality is very much shaped in the way that, like, society kind of puts it in. So, like, the morality of today is, like, very different from the morality of, like, people back in, like, ancient Greece, for example, where, like,
Absolutely.
saying, like, things like, you know, killing and stuff like that wasn't seen as bad, especially, actually, you know, instead of going to ancient Greece, because that was a bit more of a, you know, modernized society, go towards like kind of barbarians and the stuff like that, like with the whole like religion in law. Like, it's part of their religion or mythology, sorry, to just be like, we want to die in battle, kind of thing. Die a respectful death to go to Valhalla. That's the morality of it, like to fight and die, kind of thing. And it's accepted in their culture, kind of thing. So it's funny how it's changed, and like morality has changed along with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's no wonder that like people's ideas of morality have just changed constantly, because it's literally, there's like nothing that we can compare any of our ideas to actually confirm if they're reasonable or not. We just kind of thrust into the world and forced to guess.
So, Omar, what do you think about morality?
Well, I think that thing you said was interesting about, you know, the like dying in war and shit. Do you think if we had more of a risk of war, or like, we were in a less, I guess, safe economic and prosperous state, do you think that would sort of return? Like the whole going off to war to fight for your country, like patriotism and stuff?
I think that's a good point actually, because going back to like how it was in like back in the war days of like World War II and stuff, it's the government had a lot of power over the people in terms of like how they could just basically say, oh, we're going to war, go off, you guys are going to like go fight, you don't really have a choice, you're getting shipped off. And a large part of the populace would just be like, oh yeah, that's fine. But it's funny how like it's taken a while, and it's because I think a big part like was the Vietnam War, I'd say, like where people were like, no, we shouldn't listen to this, we should think for ourselves, kind of thing. And I think that was like a defining bit for the kind of morality of basically just not following everything like a blind sheep kind of thing.
While that is true, I don't necessarily know that we're like our country is as anti-war as we think. Like I think if
no, absolutely
Britain
true.
got involved in
definitely.
a war, a lot of people would be like, yeah, let's go.
That sounds a lot like the mentality of the First World War, though, doesn't it?
We've seen that with Ukraine. Like everyone's all like, "Fuck yeah, let's have Ukraine just destroy Russia."
Yeah. That's true.
And in that case, I think it's kind of acceptable.
Yeah, I think then again though, I think all the men were like basically they couldn't leave the country basically, so they kind of had to fight, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I guess it is like a thing of, is it the government or is it people wanting to actually
sure that,
fight?
Like there have been conscriptions in Ukraine, but I from what I understand, the general sort of feeling in Ukraine is one of resistance at the moment.
Yeah. No, I think understandably so.
So why people?
Sorry, well, I completely ignored the original question you asked about. What was it?
I think I was just thinking like, how do you define morality really? That's just to start as a baseline.
I think mine was pretty similar to Josh's, to be fair. I think it was. But I think, it's usually, I guess, guided by social norms, or what's, if you're born in like a religious country, you're going to have different, I guess, expectations of what's moral and what's immoral compared to someone with a different, environment or upbringing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
With that said, actually, talking about societies. Oh, sorry. Do you want to go, Josh?
Oh no, I was just saying, like, when we talk about what we mean by morality, it could kind of refer to one of two things. It can kind of refer to what we specifically mean when we say like what's right or wrong. Like what I mean by morality could refer to like what I would define as right or wrong, or it could refer to just what's the general concept of morality.
Because I think that concept has definitely evolved a lot more. Like the general idea, like because obviously, like I said, like back with like the Vikings and stuff, like how they were like that. Then there were other places like Greece, for example, that were a lot more like opposed to violence and war and stuff like that. But it seems over time, everyone has kind of got like a general baseline of maybe killing isn't that good. Maybe that's not such a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's specifically what you meant, Josh, but it's interesting because it's kind of common sense when you think about it, but it's just weird how we...
The world has become more utilitarian, which is what I like to see.
Yeah.
I think it's not necessarily true, though, that people have been like less morally principled throughout history. Like, I think it's always been the case that people are trying to do the right things. It's just that, again, like starting off in the world with like very little knowledge of it, there was never like any shot that we were just gonna immediately come out with like this perfect understanding of like everyone having the same sort of value of experience and everyone being entitled to a good life and whatnot.
Interesting. I was gonna say before as well.
Yeah.
So what do you
No
guys?
hate on the oldlings.
What society has like the best case of like morality? Do you think then, or what area? I guess.
I mean, it's kind of tempting to just go with like somewhere like Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems pretty chill.
I guess I should also
emphasize.
emphasize modern kind of thing, not previously, because Norway back in the day might have not been.
Okay,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like Norway.
I don't think the Vikings were like that terrible compared to other.
I mean, it's kind of how you look at it. It's perspective, isn't it? Because like from our perspective, they basically invaded England and took over the entire country pretty much for a little bit.
I mean, England invaded a lot of places. So
England also did as well. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying no one's really free
British
of blame.
Empire moment.
I think it's
a lot of death.
Like almost always, not always, but almost always the case that if one country can invade another, it's probably gonna try.
It's probably gonna resources or I mean, it seems like we've got all this nice peace now, but it was kind of built on a lot of
I
killing.
think like under the assumption that most places are going to like invade each other, I think the best way to judge like old societies is how they treated places after they'd invaded.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I'm pretty sure that the Vikings were after all of the horrible pillaging and things. I'm pretty sure they were fairly nice.
They're fairly chill.
Did a lot of breeding.
It kind of goes down the line of like, is it good or bad? Because I mean, the atrocities that they did, but maybe the country ended up being better because of it. But does that still kind of, what is the moral like?
By my
overall
standards,
from that whole
I would
thing?
say it's overall bad, but
yeah,
it's long to explain why.
No, I get that.
Killing is fun, right?
Because it's
I mean,
go on,
I think like so. There's this sort of general conception of like utilitarianism that the idea is that like every action you do, if it has a net good consequence, then it's a good action, and if it has a net bad consequence, then it's a bad action.
Yeah.
But there are certain, while that would ideally be true, there are certain limitations to reality that make it really hard to enact that. And it kind of makes sense to think of things in the line of like not if a specific action is bad or good, but like if it contributes to a world that's bad or good. So like say the Vikings, horribly invaded England, but then they made a bunch of reforms, and through like historical coincidence it actually turned out to be a massive benefit to the country. You could say that that's good, but if we lived in a world where countries were constantly invading each other, that wouldn't be a good world. And so even if in that case it turned out well, you generally want to say like it's not right to invade other countries.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of that quote that like talks about basically like stories are told by the victor in a conflict, if that makes sense. Like
that's very true.
So
So
if you hear anything about the Second World War, you'd always kind of hear like the Allies side of the story much more than you would hear the like German like viewpoint, mainly because in our eyes, I mean rightly so in quite a lot in that particular case, but in our eyes they were basically considered doing pretty much evil acts kind of things. It's funny how like limited we like see the situation of that war, and how like we are the ones who told that story, and it's how we've been kind of indoctrinated.
One of my favorite examples of this is the space race, because like in the West we like to say we won the space race because we got the first man on the moon, but I'm pretty sure it was the Soviets who got the first satellite, the first animal, the first man, and the first woman in space. And then, we got to the moon and we were like, we win.
Yes. Isn't that also a bit like you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what happened with that.
There was an instance in it basically.
Shout out to that one guy who saved the planet.
Oh yeah, that's something we should talk about later, definitely. But I was going to talk about the time basically where oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. But it was a case of basically America had a missile base close to, I think, in Turkey that was threatening Russia, and Russia had a missile base in Cuba. And so the transaction was done in secret, where basically the US would be like, if you pull out your things in Cuba, we'll pull out our stuff in Turkey, but we just won't tell the public about it. And so basically that's what they did. So they secretly ended up getting Russia out of Cuba, but the US told the American people that, hey, look, we beat them completely. They didn't tell them about the fact that they took all their stuff out of Turkey.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Secretly had the closest thing to an apocalypse that we've ever had in all of human history.
Jeez.
But going back as well, so would you like to tell that story, Josh, about the guy who basically saved the world?
So this was during the missile crisis. I'm pretty sure at one point, one of the submarines, I think it was a Soviet submarine, falsely picked up a signal that there was a missile. They all thought that the Americans had launched a nuclear missile, basically. And so the captain on the ship authorized it, and it came down to two people who had to do the classic turn the key to activate the weapons. Which if they had would almost definitely have caused a nuclear war. And one of the guys turned the key and the other guy didn't. So if he had turned that key,
I think it was more than two generals. I think it was 3 to 4, and the rest of them did, but he decided it was this doesn't seem right, and so he didn't. And because of that, it was and then after they found out that it was a false alarm, which was a very good shout by the guy, because he basically and that's the guy who you will never hear about who saved the world. And that's a case of
that was a moral decision.
It's a moral decision, but it's also a logical thinking decision. So that comes into a case of
in my view,
morally, he's thinking. Oh, sorry. Go on.
In my view, moral decisions should be logical decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very tied. So I don't know. Good head on him, that guy. Although he was a Soviet soldier, so I don't know. You can talk about that.
I'm gonna allow him to
debate that. we allow it. He saved the planet. Legendary geezer. Also, I can't remember his name.
It was me, guys. Don't worry.
It's really funny how no one. I don't think anyone really remembers this guy's name, and he literally saved the planet.
Yeah, no, literally, it's insane how it gets glossed over.
It's one of those classic examples of history being really awesome. And weird.
Right. Well, in that case, I'll just have a look again. So one of the things I say is I've said two things. One is all life equal, and the other being is all human life equal. So first one meaning does even even like the tiniest fly kind of thing, does that life matter, or morally? And then the second one just being mainly human on human, does that matter?
That first question is actually, it's a bit disturbing to think about, because we generally like to assume that because we are sort of more intelligent as a species, which we are, let's be real, we generally assume that means that we also therefore have more emotion and like more experience and stuff like that, and so we say that our suffering has more moral weight to it than that of a fly. However, we don't necessarily know that sentience works like that. It may just be that, like, just because a fly is, less capable of thought, its experiences of suffering are still the same, like, relative to its usual experiences. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's entirely possible that they experience just as much as we do, just, like, in simpler terms.
Yeah, that's true as well. And there's
Which
a
would
lot
be
of
terrible.
It's funny as well, like the idea that gets put into place about like the idea of pests, if you know what I mean. So like
yeah.
Society will literally just say these are pests. It's completely fine to kill them because they're they're causing ruckus, they harm the ecosystem, or they're like or they're just too numerous, basically. Like there's a lot of these in actually Australia, because I was listening to something about that the other day. It's really funny how many times they fucked it up, but because they imported them. But yeah, it's just funny how like you can just say, oh, this
Your
society will be like, oh,
worthless.
toads are pests, so let's just give them like golf clubs to kids and they can just go beat the shit out of them. Because that's a genuine thing.
What, toad clubbing?
Yeah, it is.
For fuck's sake.
Really?
Yeah, because
I've heard of that.
like cane
that.
toads in Australia. That was the one I was referencing. Because
that is so horrible.
So yeah, it's that you kind of teaches. It's bad to do that to kids, I think, as well, because it teaches them like that life isn't sacred in that kind of situation. Like
teaches them to be sadistic.
cane toads don't have valuable lives, and if that's the case,
it's funny though.
It's funny, but it's not.
No, it's not funny. I missed. Oh, I'm gonna die. Hang on. I missed a lot of what Josh has said because I think my internet cut out. But was it basically that other life is valuable, but we just don't value it as such because we're selfish and we only know like the human experience?
Well,
was that sort of what he was saying?
Kind of, it's the idea that we assume that life has less value because we assume that the fact that it's less sentient means that it can't experience suffering as much, which we don't necessarily know.
That's true.
So if it turns out that like a fly when it gets squashed feels just as much pain as a human when it gets squashed, that would be kind of sad.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, though, it still wouldn't change anything, even if it did feel as much pain as humans did, because it's a case of we have loads of types of like intelligent animals that we do just straight up kill off for food or sport, even. Like, for example, pigs, very intelligent creatures, but they feel pain as much as we probably do. Maybe not as sentient.
Not in Islam. Not in Islam, we don't.
I would say it would change because, like, there are movements of people who are trying to help out the pigs a bit.
Oh, no, that is true.
Who I generally agree with. And you don't really see the same for flies because we generally see pigs as more valuable than flies for the same reason.
Yeah, it's also funny how society dictates which ones have like more meaning than others. But I mean, like, say you in the UK, for example, we normally don't typically mind, unless you're like vegetarian or vegan or whatever, or animals activist. You don't really kill we don't really mind killing like cattle, so like cows, chickens, pigs, all that stuff. We're fine having that. But then when you hear something about like a dog being killed or a cat or some kind of domesticated animal that we have, those are the ones which are like, okay, that's taking it too far kind of thing. It's
and
funny
it's
how
easy
like
to
morality
attribute that to them being like cuter, but we also eat lambs and pigs as well, and those are adorable.
Oh, that's
so that
true as well.
doesn't
Yeah,
work.
they're quite cute, to be fair. Yeah, we just
We
demolished
literally,
Yeah, I remember
it's
holding
not
a baby
even
lamb.
cuteness, it's just entirely random. It's just what we're used to. that
Yeah, it's just
dictates it.
it's society, bro.
It's literally society.
It's what we've been brought up in, I guess, our environment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
So yeah, I would
It's
say
just
it'd be
interesting.
like a society where we don't farm animals is a lot better. Like from a utilitarian perspective, like the meat industry right now is an absolute nightmare. It's like dystopic.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Omar, what do you think?
Hello.
What do you think about animals? And or do you think all lives matter? Or do you mainly agree with Josh and say some matter more than others, but that is
All lives
because
matter. Now
of the
we're getting
level of
controversial.
sentience?
Yeah, no, I
Oh,
actually
no.
agree a lot with Josh. I think in theory they should, but just because we're also not, like, we don't know if they feel pain or anything. We just assume them to be, I guess, less, just less smart and less, we're like top of the food chain type of thing. So I guess our choices reflect that more so than, I guess, all their lives mattering. And I think, yeah, it's a product of our environment, what we've been, I guess, brought up to. Like, we eat some animals, obviously, we don't eat others. But yeah, I think that's also due to, I guess, the utility of like an animal. Like, I guess we value dogs a lot and stuff because throughout the, I don't know how many years, but they've pretty much been using them for like farming purposes and things like that to farm like other animals, I guess, like the sheep and chickens and stuff like that. So
Dogs have like historically been used as a companion rather than like a food source.
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's how we see them.
so that's just how we see it because that's how we've been brought up, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't know about cats. Cats just be chilling as well. I think they're companions sort of as well.
Just to be
At
absolutely
least I think
clear,
in like Egypt.
I
and
think the
stuff.
best way to deal with this is to
stop
stop
talking.
killing the other animals rather than
Kill every other animal.
Yeah.
Kill all the animals.
let's not start killing dogs.
Yeah. I
It's
think
equality now.
it's definitely true. And we're getting there. We're getting better, I think. I think movements have definitely increased a lot more for
Yeah.
like discussing like that kind of stuff where it's no longer tolerated as much about like killing animals.
But speaking of this, I know neither of you are vegan, right?
I
No.
personally I would never be vegan. I could be vegetarian, but not vegan.
I've been considering it. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not vegan
But I'm
either,
like,
but I
it's
wanted
a
to
big
get
lie.
your moral thoughts on that because I think we seem to be in agreement that animal lives sort of have moral value.
Now, going back to my statement, I'm not saying I wouldn't be vegan, but just because of the fact that I would say I wouldn't be vegan for multiple reasons. Main reason being it's not a very healthy lifestyle that I've seen, and I would if I was going to even consider it, I'd wait like years from now where like the science and stuff for the food has actually got on par with like regular stuff, so I'm getting enough nutrition and all
I
that.
think it is
Another
difficult,
thing
but
is
it's
a case
possible.
of
Oh gosh.
it's a bit like I feel like certain things, so like say having chicken eggs and stuff from like a free range, by the way, not caged. I never really get caged. But
Yeah. So.
free range like chicken eggs kind of gives a purpose to those chickens as well. And I feel like if you didn't, then we wouldn't have much use for chickens, and the population would probably decrease a lot because of that, good or bad, because we're not using them anymore for what they would like typically like to be used for.
Well, what do they actually do? Like, if we wanted to just like
They die,
kill them and
probably.
eat them all, what do? They just chill.
Cows,
they
however, are
produce
different, I think,
population
because of
effect.
the like environmental impact. And I'm off milk now, pretty much.
Yeah,
I just have oat milk.
Would you say the
It's pretty good.
same argument
I have
would
oat and
apply to like farming humans? Like if an alien
Farming
species
humans?
started farming humans and then
That'd be
it
pretty
got to
hard.
the point where humans were relied on these aliens farming us to survive, would you say you would rather us keep being farmed so that we can survive, or would you rather us be free from the farming?
The difference is we're intelligent beings. So, meanwhile, like a chicken, for example, typically, if it was freed, it would probably just go out in the wild and die because they're domesticated at that point. They don't know how to survive. But the difference is with humans is that we're intelligent enough to, like, it's much more easy for us to acclimate, I believe.
I mean,
yeah, that's true.
The chickens we had came from like wild chickens, right? That were capable of surviving.
Yeah.
So if aliens domesticated us, that'd be very kinky.
Oh gosh.
Would you like say the same thing?
It's a tricky subject, to be fair, because it's like, it's hard to say what is the morally correct thing in that situation. Like, do you stop or and just let nature do what it wants and be completely separated?
There's like a weird aspect of it's called like, I think it's called population ethics, which is like the discussion of the ethics of the population changing, basically. So like, for example, we reached 8 billion people recently in the world.
Oh,
and a lot of people see this as a bad thing.
I do not see it as a bad thing.
A lot of people see... So it's kind of an interesting thing of like, do we want to just try and increase the amount of life as much as possible, even if it comes at the cost of the quality of life? Or is the quality of life also like relevant or more relevant?
Yeah, it's a good point.
So Josh, can you say that again? Sorry, my thing cut out.
I think mine might have
audio.
As well, to be fair.
Oh.
No, so where did I cut out?
You didn't cut out for me, so I don't know.
I just had quality of life or something, and then just...
Yeah, so basically the question becomes like, is it better to increase the population at the cost of the population's quality of life, or is the quality of life more important?
That whole situation
either way.
is different, I think, because the reason why I said I see it more as a good thing is because basically like, I don't know why I keep choking on my words tonight, but fucking hell.
That's okay.
I do know that too. It's hard to
okay.
vocalize feelings on this.
No,
it
it's a good thing you don't want to fuck off on it either, because it's pretty controversial. But what I was going to say was, it's because one thing I've heard about a lot is the idea of the issue with like, you know, like homelessness and like starvation and, you know, poverty and stuff isn't as much attributed to the population number as much as it is, or like quality of life, as much as it is the actual aptitude of the supply chain, if that makes sense.
Right.
So like, if a country is very good with its like imports and stuff, then a higher population can help maintain that supply chain as well. But it's just a case of how well the government is run.
It's definitely, I think it's definitely been like calculated that we have more than enough food to like supply the whole world. It's just we don't distribute it right. Yeah. So with the specific case of you know, the population reaching 8 billion, I do agree with you, but like, if so like, would you say though that if the Earth's overpopulation like was such that it was literally directly causing us to have a worse quality of life, would you still say the same thing? Like, if it wasn't due to distribution problems and it was just due to the fact that there are too many humans, would you say that
if
overpopulation is a problem then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from an objective standpoint, then yes, it would be, wouldn't it? Because, like, objectively, if you're looking at it as a computer, if it's definitive that higher population, that means worse quality of life for everyone, and that means like more people are going to suffer and stuff like that. However, it's not fair.
I don't know if that is objective.
It's depends. So the way you phrased it was like saying it. This is how it is. This is going to be like high population means more suffering, kind of thing. That's how I heard it anyway.
Yeah, no, that is what I said.
Yeah, same here.
But so in that way, I think of it as a like kind of monotone, like a computer basically giving me this conclusive thing, and you have two options: either go with it or, actually, technically three. You go with it, like say, limit that population number. You think outside of it and try and go against it. So basically, try and reevaluate how we could turn this to be a positive. Or like, yeah, just yeah, and the third one is just basically give up, just accept it.
just
when I say like it's not necessarily objective, oh, this is gonna be so hard to phrase. Right, what I mean is that there is value to creating life or like sustaining life, and then there is value to making life happier, and I don't think it's necessarily possible to like objectively compare those two different values. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely a very difficult thing to.
Because they're like kind of separate questions in a way.
Yeah, they are. And what do you think the solution is in that situation, Josh?
Well, that's why I say morality is subjective, because it's very hard to like. I don't think that it's logically possible to come up with an objective answer to that question. Like, it's kind of just up to you.
Yeah.
That's why.
Isn't this like this whole? I think these whole questions especially started coming up, or like stemming from after Endgame or Infinity War. Do you guys remember all like the conversations people would be having? Like, is what Thanos was doing morally correct, kind of thing?
I remember that a little bit. Yeah, I think so.
Because I think I've never heard more like conversations stemming from it than in the last few years, or at least heard about the conversation.
No, I only heard it after She-Hulk came.
Oh god,
that might well be true.
It's just because I especially saw him as like
Thanos was
a kind of like he's a really good villain because of that. Like, he's doing it because he, in his mind, I mean, some of the stuff he does is questionable, and then it's like, okay, you kind of just ruined yourself. But
killing people.
yeah, but like the basic idea of him wanting to wipe half the universe out, like randomly as well. That's the important thing as well, I think. Like, it makes sense from his perspective, kind of, because he's seen his whole planet die, and because of that, you can kind of relate to how he's thinking about it. He's not just some brainless guy who's going, I'm gonna just kill a bunch of people because I'm evil. He's doing it because he's lost a lot, and he's trying to make the strongest choices require the strongest wills, kind of shit, you know.
I thought it was because of like a population control thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the point. So he's saying there's limited resources in the universe. But and so his solution to it is to wipe out half the universe so that the universe can, survive and thrive. But it's a tough decision. He constantly is like saying that like this is like the only way in his mind anyway. But
yeah.
Bro, why don't you just double the resources, man?
Yeah, that
There
was
are
another
very-
thing that people started bringing up.
There are various like logical flaws with the argument, like also like how population growth is often exponential, so
Yeah.
the universe like it will just increase after like 20 years.
Just keep
But-
happening.
But I feel like those responses, while it's true, it kind of I don't know, you're kind of focusing on the wrong part of the issue.
Yeah,
Then
true.
It's like
My standing for it was just gonna say that like it's an intriguing subject to talk about, and it's interesting that it was brought up after that movie. But as for like the actual validity of his stuff, yeah, that's a different matter.
Yeah, like the actual logistics of it are very separate from like the kind of ethical aspects. But yeah, no, I mean Thanos is iconic. They did a
My
good
guy
job with him.
Thanos.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear Thanos, I just think of Will's stickers on WhatsApp.
Some context for the audience
Thanos.
is that Will used to send us Thanos
Put it on
nudes.
screen.
I just have Thanos' nudes. Yeah.
So thanks
pretty
for
much.
that, Will.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who doesn't?
And you send it part by part in a sticker list. It's beautiful.
I've lost those stickers. You know, they're lost to time now.
What
I think
a
I've got them.
shame.
Actually, I don't know.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with
so
myself.
upset about that, Will.
Yeah, me too.
That's
Me too, Josh.
that's what inspired today's podcast. Was
This
stickers.
this,
The questions
this
of
podcast
morality.
is sponsored by.
Thanos' cock.
Thanos cock. Sponsored by Beano. Anyway, morality.
Thanos car.
How the fuck do you make? Oh. Yeah.
You guys ever heard of antinatalism?
I actually have heard.
And
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
anti what? Sorry, natalism.
Antinatalism, which is the belief that it is immoral to have children.
I haven't heard of that.
Is it because
it's immoral
it's
to
like
have-
does it mean like because of the idea of bringing them into a world full of suffering kind of thing?
There are various reasons for it. So
Mainly. 'cause
so
I
that
hate
is one of
children.
them. Some people are literally just edgy and are just like, the world is paying. We must not bring anyone into the world.
Space, bro.
I think that's kind of
Space.
silly. Like, life isn't that bad, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stop being
come
a-
on, guys.
Stop being a
but we're
drama
like a
Just because
first world
your
country,
Discord
but like
kitten is
life
rejected
sucks,
you.
bro.
Yeah, literally. But then there's also people who feel that way for environmental reasons. Like, we don't need more humans right now because things are bad.
Yeah,
Which, like, again, the distribution problem, I feel like, kind of shuts that idea down. But also, it's impoverished countries that are having all the children, and I don't think that the people in impoverished countries are going to read all the arguments about antinatalism on the r/antinatalism
yeah, I don't think they care, bro.
subreddit. So, like, good luck with that strategy. I think the most interesting one is the idea that so you would generally agree, right, that like if you enter a room and there's someone in the room who's like a log's fallen on their foot and they're like in pain from this log, and you can just lift the log off, like it's probably good to relieve their pain and lift the log off their foot, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Like if you have the opportunity to prevent someone from feeling pain, like it's kind of a moral responsibility to do that. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I do. Yeah.
I agree with that.
So just
Now, a lot of people don't necessarily agree that if someone's kind of just vibe it like they're okay, they're feeling fairly neutral, a lot of people don't necessarily think that we have the moral responsibility to make them happy. Like if you sit in a room and someone's just there kind of looking a bit bored, you don't necessarily have the moral responsibility to make them laugh. Would you agree with that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is, if we have the moral responsibility to prevent suffering, but we don't have the moral responsibility to create joy, then that means that the moral responsibility for all of the suffering that your child will experience throughout their life
You cut out.
weighs on you.
You are.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, I
That was always so perfect.
What that means is that the moral responsibility that you have for all of the suffering that your child may experience throughout its life, that is like your moral responsibility to prevent that. However, you do not have the moral responsibility to cause the joy that the child will experience in its life. And so that means that overall, having the child is immoral.
But even if it's not your moral responsibility, but you still do it, doesn't that make it more like special in that kind of way? It's not. I get like I don't know, because it sounds like
because
in a way like you're clearly going against their wishes kind of thing by making them happy, but at the same time, are you? There's a difference between like unconsensual and unknowing kind of thing.
The idea is like you are actively disobeying your moral responsibility to prevent the suffering that this child is going to go through.
Okay.
Whereas you aren't fulfilling any kind of you aren't counterbalancing that by like fulfilling some other greater responsibility. So overall, you're just disobeying a moral responsibility when you have a child. Is the argument?
That's interesting.
It's a really like brain fucky argument, actually. I feel like.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Though I'm not an anti-natalist, but it's a very interesting argument.
Emma, what do you think?
Wait, so it's more like, but then doesn't that assume there's only like two scenarios? You're either suffering or have joy. Could you be like somewhere in the middle? Like you could be, if joy is more like prosperity and suffering is, I guess, the opposite of that. I don't know. Yeah. Could there be like a middle ground where you're neither, I don't know, neither really happy or really sad?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally we don't consider ourselves as having the responsibility to make that either. Like,
yeah. Oh, what is that?
It's a
yeah. That is a brain fucky argument. Yeah, no, that's.
I think that you can argue that we have some responsibility to create joy.
Yeah,
but I also
I think as a parent as well, maybe you have.
I think it's as a parent. I guess it depends how close you feel to that
parent,
person.
Definitely.
You're gonna do more for someone that you're, especially if it's your child or someone that's close to you. I guess you'll do more.
There's also
for them.
the case of
because you feel like you have
responsibility as well. I'm wondering if that applies to this. So like, say I've become your friend, Josh. Congratulations, I'm your friend. All right.
You achieved it.
And as part of being my friend, from my own moral perspective, it is my responsibility to make you, like, to basically treat you right, girl. I got you. Don't worry, Holmes.
To make me
I'm there to make you feel okay. I'm here to cheer you up when you're down, kind of thing. And I know you do the same for me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, in that situation, that has become a acquired kind of responsibility. That's what my friendship means to me, and it's what I will upkeep, kind of thing, because that's what I believe in. So in that case, does that align with the idea of, if I'm making you happy because you're my friend, I want to make you happy, kind of thing, in my own sick, twisted way?
I think it does. I think that the reason the argument
I agree
is so
with that,
brain fucky is because it's very easy for us to understand cases of like preventing suffering being good, whereas like causing joy often feels more like it's like a more ethereal goal. Like it's kind of harder to pin down exactly when you've done it or not. and so that makes it hard to visualize. But I think that, as you say, we do have the responsibility sometimes to make people feel joy, and obviously, given that we have that ruins the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it depends person to
agree with
person
that.
though, because not everyone has that kind of responsibility. So maybe in terms of generic average, because like maybe a lot of people they won't think of that like that. I'm not obligated to do shit for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is in some kind of way fair enough, because not
maybe
you.
it's based on like sort of trust as well, because you're not gonna.
That, but again, that's not really an objective. Yeah. Sorry, what are you saying, Emma?
I was saying it might be based on like trust as well. What we're saying, quiet responsibility, because you're not going to treat a stranger and like your best friend. You're going to do more for your best friend, I guess. You feel more responsible because I guess they're a bigger part of your life, because they do more for you, so you feel like you need to do more for them. So yeah, I guess you wouldn't. Yeah, you'd feel more responsible to make a friend or like a family member like happier than a random person.
I think that's true, and I feel like a big part of why that's true is like quite an important factor in this whole thing is to do with like ability, because I think that we have much more ability to make our friends or family happy than to make a stranger happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you know someone, it's a lot easier to make them laugh and so on. And so the reason
at the same
we may
time
not
though,
feel obligated Sorry, I was just finishing. The reason why we may not feel obligated to make a stranger laugh is not because it's necessarily like the action has less value, but because it's just we don't really know how to do it, and so it's not our fault if we can't.
Yeah, like what I can say to make you laugh, Josh, it's like some stupid something, and then it's not going to necessarily make a stranger feel joy.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
Well, same with Will. Like,
like you have much more ability to cheer me up than a random stranger.
However, at the same time, there are also some types of iterations where it might be nice to hear something from a stranger than it would be your friend. But I mean, like, say if you get... Oh, I don't like that.
you're right there.
Sorry. I'm in this weird place. Anyway, and
in Minecraft, by the way.
what I was saying was basically, say if you have if you get a compliment from a stranger, complete stranger, you might take that more like to heart than you would your friend, because at the end of the day, maybe your friend wouldn't want to hurt your feelings.
It wouldn't be
about
biased.
something.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be biased.
Yeah.
And so maybe that could make you feel like happier as well. So
that's true.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's very true.
Where, like stuff like just us all being worried about kind of social etiquette, kind of kicks in. I definitely feel like society would be a lot better if people would just felt it was more normal to just compliment each other on the streets. Like that'd be lovely.
Yeah,
that would be so nice. I'd love that.
That'd be great.
Maybe, guys, we gotta start that movement.
I'm gonna get called a wanker by some old British dude.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was also part of our society to kind of treat a lot of shit condescendingly, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to change people's like perspectives in that way. Like
sure. If people aren't used to it, it's gonna come off as a bit weird.
If you,
I mean, I compliment people day to day. I try to, but it's usually it's usually not just out and about. It's like
just
if I'm
saying,
in a shop,
I like your hair.
that's good.
I like.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think
make people feel good, and you'll feel good
difference.
yourself. You know.
Yeah, it's very true.
But going on to something as well, I was gonna say. So I think I posed this question in the chat as well. I was gonna say, does the life of a human baby,
Oh God.
is it worth more than the life of a working young adult, kind of thing?
Ooh,
Just let that one set in.
You see, so to me,
epic moral
the
question.
answer is no. Because for the same reason that we generally see humans as more like the human life as more worth, well, as worth more than like most other animals.
Oh shit! You calling babies animals?
Well, their brains are less developed.
Yeah, true.
Yo, facts.
Bro,
Bro's a baby he's hating on the babies.
my guy just hating on the babies.
I'm literally hating on the babies.
Hates. I bet you hate Ice Age baby. But yeah. So with that, I think I agree, because it's a case of if you choose the baby's life, it's kind of a case of you're taking a risk. You know what I mean? Because there's one that's already fully functional, and then there's the other that could, like, so one is already a contributing member of society and will be for a good few years, and then the other one has the potential to, but at the same time also has the potential to not, kind of thing. And so in that situation, yeah. But it's just funny because obviously society, like the world is kind of based around that, you know, an infant's child would be chosen first. Because, you know, if, say like a shipwreck occurs, it's always the women and children who go off first, and then the men.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing with gender and all that stuff, but that's a different topic. But I'm just talking about the baby here.
This is right where now. I feel it kind of comes back to what I was talking about earlier, where like even if I did feel like the adult's life has more value, it may also be of that, like, it also may be more important to construct a society where we protect children over adults, considering that children don't necessarily have as much ability to protect themselves. And so, like, in an actual real case, like, I would be inclined to punish a baby murderer. Oh, can you guys hear me?
A little bit, you're slightly cutting out.
A little bit, it's kind of cutting out slightly.
My Minecraft just cut out, so I figured it might be copying over, but... Oh, what was I say? Oh, yeah, I'd be inclined to, like, punish someone who murders babies more than someone who murders, like, adults. Just because of, like, practical reasons. Not necessarily because I think that the baby is inherently worth more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Omar, what do you think? Would you yeet a baby off a cliff or a working adult?
Yeah, why not, bro? Do it for free.
Oh well.
You wouldn't yeet a baby.
I don't know. I feel like the innate like desire is that we should value them more because they have more, I guess, potential for life, and we always see babies as innocent and like stuff like that. But I guess in a practical scenario, can they survive? They're kind of dumb, you know. They kind of don't know how to walk. Like, what are they gonna do, bro? I don't know. Yeah, it's
yeah.
It depends on the situation, I guess. I'd say I would value them more in like a general sense, I guess. Like if I had to choose between an adult dying or a child dying, I'd probably choose the adult. Like just based off that statement. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like to me, they're worth less, but they should be treated as they are worth more.
Yeah.
Oh, that was they're worth less, but they should be treated as what? Sorry.
They should be treated as though they're worth more.
Okay, yeah. I think
do you think all people are born?
That's a good way to put it.
Do you think all lives are born equal, like human lives?
Yeah, pretty much.
in terms of like a morality sense, or
Okay, well, let's say
just, like,
Unless you're like born.
there's two
literally with
babies
no
hanging off a
brain.
cliff.
yeah.
One of the babies is just a average, like family baby kind of thing, you know, so regular, like 9 to 5 working parents kind of thing. And the other baby
Okay.
is the son of this super genius rich person, part of like the revolutionary research stuff. But he's the baby of that person.
He's the baby. Yeah.
Who do you think who should be chosen in that situation?
Chosen for what?
Like, so if they're both hanging off a cliff, who do you save?
Oh, tell them to both do a pull-up.
Whose life is worth more in that situation, kind of thing?
Whoever can hold on the longest. No.
Omar, you've just thought outside the box to a degree I was not expecting. Holy
survival
shit.
of the fittest. Survival of the fittest, I guess.
Bro, that is the best argument. Holy shit.
You gotta look.
I'm gonna use
away all their it takes away all their upbringing. It takes away all their whatever they've been gifted with. I guess. Yeah, just
We're having all these moral discussions. Just read Origin of Species, bitch.
Just do a pull up.
Oh my god.
Hang on a bit.
Yeah.
No, actually, maybe that is the right answer. I don't know.
maybe
I feel like
maybe
that's the least.
Seeing who falls first is the right answer.
Yeah, bro, it's survival of the fittest, bro. It takes away all the other like.
Essentially the same as like flipping a coin, which is what I would do. Because I'm inclined to say they're equal.
Yeah, that's equality, man. It's just what happens. I don't know. Who's valued more? Can I push them both off? No, seriously, I don't actually know what values more. Is it a situation like you'd have to save one and let the other die, or?
Yeah, kind of thing. Well, it's just a scenario to be used to basically say who should live, who should die, kind of thing, you know.
Oh, oh.
And yeah, so Josh, what do you have to say about
that? Again, I'm inclined to say that they're equal.
The babe.
Yeah, I would just pick a random one.
Oh, okay. So that in that situation, it doesn't matter.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
no, it doesn't.
Okay.
I don't think.
Just hit him.
In that specific situation.
Just do the.
If you if you pick like because I would say that the main argument you could make for there being a difference there is that one baby is one baby is likelier to have a better life than the other.
Yeah. So which one will have less suffering, kind of thing? That's an interesting aspect to look at it. Yeah, like rather than privilege, think of like, quality of life or potential quality of life.
Yeah, I think that's the main factor there. But
we had a topic actually before, Josh. What did you? Yeah, me and Omar had made an entire little thing about it actually. And it involved, basically, the death penalty.
What? Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I was curious what you think about this.
What do I think about the death penalty?
Do you think the death penalty should ever be used, or
no. No, I don't. This is, I think, one of the more controversial aspects of utilitarianism is the fact that, like, kind of one of the conclusions of it is that the concept of deserve doesn't really exist. since no matter how evil you are, the amount of suffering you experience is the same. And so technically an evil person and a good person experiencing suffering is like the same morally in and of itself.
Josh, I'm sure that was great, but you just cut out.
Yeah, neither of you hear that
you didn't
all.
to me. I heard the whole thing, so don't worry.
Oh, okay. Wait, could you like paraphrase to someone? Sorry, maybe it's
basically,
my Wi-Fi.
If morality comes down to like just how much suffering is being experienced, evil and good people experience the same amount, like experience suffering in the same way. So having an evil person suffer is just as bad as having a good person suffer. So like the concept of people deserving bad things to happen to them doesn't really exist in utilitarianism, because like bad things happening is just always inherently bad.
Okay, fair. I was gonna check. What else? Did we have anything else I wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I'm sure we had. Sorry, let me check the list as well.
So, if Omar was hanging off a cliff, would you let go?
Is that the whole question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually quite like Omar. So I think I'll spare him from the horrors of life and let him go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Because
Thank you.
Omar, we really just don't want you to suffer. That's why.
literally the only reason. Omar. There's no ulterior motives.
Guys, what if I was hanging off the edge with two babies?
With one of them was a Ice Age baby. I'd pick up Ice Age baby only to just beat him up.
Yeah, I just pull them all up and then just cast down the babies again.
The Ice Age baby. Why do we hate Ice Age baby? Well, that's a morally ambiguous question.
You have to press.
I feel like we could make a good YouTube video out of this as well. Like, I got the thumbnail planned in my head.
Guys,
It's
do you
just
press
his
the
face.
button if 100 people will die, but also Ice Age baby will also die?
You guys, if you guys don't rate this podcast 5-star, Ice Age baby and Stuart Little will win, and the world will be doomed.
They will come to your house. They'll come to your house at 3 a.m.
He will come to your house at 3 a.m.
If you don't like this video, guys.
Come on, guys, let's get it.
Drop a like.
Yeah. Other than that, is there anything else people want to talk about? I got the last one talking about simulation stuff. But,
Josh wanted to talk about that.
Josh very much.
Josh has a very complex and long answer for this.
It's one of the most boring philosophical questions, because it's all just speculative. No one knows. It's not possible to know. Once you figure that out, then you can't really go anywhere with the conversation.
True, but do you think it's likely?
No. I how would you even quantify that? I don't know.
Well, think about it.
We literally live in it's literally The Sims, bro.
The point is if we as a society can develop and be as modern as we are, we can make video games that simulate real life, Sims, literally, as a basic idea. Then who's to say that another civilization similar to us could do the exact same thing and be much more advanced than us, so that they could literally simulate an entire universe? Or at least just us.
I mean,
I think that's possible.
In order to simulate an entire universe, if you think about it, you would need to have a computer that's made of, at the very least, the same number of particles as the universe, right?
Would you need a computer?
To be fair, we're talking to a civilization that might do things completely differently to how we would consider.
Yeah, they could have completely different resources and stuff.
We're giving everything the same properties as this universe, then
But at the same time,
like
you could
you
say
can only
like
store a
when you
certain
have
amount of
Sims,
information. Like it's only physically impossible to store a certain amount of information in a certain area.
well, like say when you play Minecraft, for example, that's it's generating an infinite world. Is a terrible analogy.
It's not.
But it generates an infinite
It's
world
infinite,
pretty
yeah.
much.
It's not.
But it does a very
It's
large
not
amount, but
generating
it does
the
it with
entire
such a
world,
very
though.
small
It's
amount
only
of
generating
storage
where
space.
you go.
True.
And if you
But-
try to walk over the whole Minecraft world and generate every chunk in the Minecraft world, it would probably fill up your computer. Like you would need several
but
supercomputers to do
also,
that shit.
the case of like with all the blocks
And
in
that's so
this,
much simpler than reality.
Yeah, it is. It is. But what I'm saying is a baseline, because the idea is it's not a case of how much of is that computer made out of to run it kind of thing. It's a case of how complicated is the tech and how does it facilitate such a big task, which I think could be possible for like if you gave humans civilization and we were still alive in like for like a million years from now. I don't really doubt the fact that we would be able to create a simulation that could simulate like life to a perfect degree.
I think that we could simulate a life form potentially with like a massive computer, but a whole universe.
I mean, like an entire. I don't doubt an entire universe, to be quite honest, because
it's
a million years from now,
it's physically impossible, Will.
I don't think that's part. Yeah,
because like think about it, you have to store the momentum and position of every particle, and it takes at least one atom to, it takes more than one atom to store a number, right? So
yeah.
Like how's that going to work out?
The other thing is as well, it's a case of how advanced could a civilization be, because we live in a third dimensional.
To me, the only way that a society could simulate the universe is if it turns out that the laws of physics that we know at the moment are wrong and that there's actually like more to reality, which is entirely possible. But like if we assume that, then we can also assume a host of other things. Like it may be the case that it's possible to just like create little mini realities, and then if we do one of them, then we'll be able to wonder, what if we're just in one of them? So it kind of feels like the simulation is just the random possible explanation that we have a precedent for. It's not like more likely.
Yeah, no, that's true. The other thing as well, I was gonna say, is the assumption that our universe is infinite. Because I mean, obviously, we assume it is, but there is, to our observability, there is a limit, and we've done plenty of theories and stuff to basically, like, and all that stuff, like science to basically discover, is the universe really infinite or blah 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 blah. But say, for example, that the universe wasn't infinite, and it's structured in a way that we will never find out if it was infinite, but at the end of the day it wasn't, then in that situation you could say that we would be more likely to be in a simulation, because there's a limit to the area that it's doing it in. Obviously, it's still like ridiculously complicated, and don't get me wrong, I think it's unlikely that we're in a simulation in the first place. But I'm thinking of it in terms of if a civilization was truly like,
it would make it more likely that we were in a simulation. It would also make it more likely that we were in a magical alien space ball.
So yeah, there we go.
Which is
right.
Yeah, like I don't think. Yeah, this is the problem. This is why I don't really find it like a super meaningful topic. Because I feel
currently
like
running in circles.
The simulation. Sorry, we need to find lava. The simulation theory is just one that we find interesting because we have a precedent for it, not because there's necessarily any more reason to believe it.
Yeah. But that's the idea, I think, anyway, with that topic, because it's possible, but yeah, it seems a bit out of reach to even conceive, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's possible in the sense that it hasn't been proven impossible.
Yeah, it's a bit like God, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way, like saying he could. I mean, he could exist.
Oh, that's controversial.
Probably, but
yeah.
But it's a case of, do we have enough evidence to suggest that? Sorry, I might get fucked. Actually, no, I say God, not Allah. It's different. It's different. Allah can exist.
No, it is.
Very
It's
inclusive on this podcast. I mean, Josh Christ.
Yeah.
They're similar. I'm
I'm
specifically saying God because I'm Christian. I'm allowed to say it. That's how it works.
Oh, okay. Right. Are you? Oh yeah, no, you did say you are Christian. Yeah.
I'm technically am, but
I'm
more like I'm borderline
Christianity, then you're not
atheist. Sorry.
What's Josh?
In my view, if you don't actually believe in Christianity, like if you don't believe in God, then I don't think you can really say you're a Christian. It's just that you'd like legally be one.
Oh, wait, you slightly cut out for that, but I kind of get what you were asking.
Wait,
no, the thing is, I believe the potential, like, I'm scientific in terms of I doubt there is a God, really. But at the same time, I'd still kind of hold out for the fact that it's definitely possible there could be some kind of omniscient being out there that's caused all of this. So, by that definition, it makes me agnostic, technically. Like, so he could exist or he could not.
Agnosticism and atheism aren't actually, like, mutually exclusive. Because, technically, if you don't know whether something exists or not, you can accurately say that you don't believe in it. Right? Like, if you had, like, a jar of gumballs filled with, like, yellow and red gumballs, and then and it looked about the same, and you came over to me and asked me which, like, if they're a yellow or red, if there are more yellow or red, sorry, I would say, well, I don't know. And then that wouldn't necessarily be me saying that I don't...
Does that mean you don't believe in the gumballs?
That wouldn't necessarily be the same as me saying, like, I believe that they're a yellow, just because I say I don't believe that they're a more red.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I kind of get what you mean. But I think, to a degree, if you believe in a possibility, then you may not be fully committing to it, but you believe in it to an extent. And I think agnostic is specifically designed for that particular purpose, saying he could exist, but there's also the potential that he couldn't.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of atheists I see do, like, identify themselves as agnostic. I just think, like, there's a general stereotype that being agnostic just means that you don't really, like, either that you're on the fence or you don't really want to call yourself an atheist.
Yeah, no, I have no problem calling myself an atheist, to be fair. But it's just a case of there is still, like, a tiny bit that I'm like...
I kind of get it. Yeah, there are, like, kind of social conceptions around.
Oh. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. That's fun.
But yeah. So, Omar, what do you think?
Oh, hello. I was just trying to find one of you in the game.
Omar, what?
Go on.
No, I get the whole, like, agnostic thing for sure. I think I believe there is a God, and, like, we go somewhere after we die. But I would be lying if I said I'm, like, 100% sure.
Okay.
Or that, like, oh yeah, I'm certain we go to this place. I think it's nice to.
Technically, you're an agnostic theist.
Yeah, I'm not the edge of, like, oh yeah, 100%. Like, no, this is gonna happen. And stuff. I believe it will. There's always a bit of doubt, but
I imagine there's not too many people that like truly blindly, not blindly.
Nah,
but, like,
I think most religious people would say that they're sure.
No, very religious people would, but I think overall, I think
A
that
lot of people
whole
are very
idea has
religious.
kind of died
But
down.
in a way, I think that's dangerous in a sense. Like, you shouldn't just blindly, follow something because a book told you. You need to have like some, critical thinking and stuff.
Exactly. You have to have
But
your own
I think
knowledge.
I'm more confirmed of the fact God exists than like, like I'll question things in the Quran. I'm like, is that the right thing to do? Or a lot of things I do agree with. There's obviously some I disagree with. But I think if I would say, oh yeah, I agree with every single thing in this book, then I'd be lying.
Yeah.
But I think that's dangerous if someone says, oh yeah, I believe in every single thing that's written in this book.
Yeah.
It's a question that I guess it's a personal thing, isn't it? You have to kind of
you're
decide.
smart for that.
Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of
I don't know. Go
like most people historically and even in the world today who are religious would generally tend to say that they're like sure about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my guy Pope Francis though. He a real one. He commits to no one.
Did Pope Francis say he was an agnostic?
I don't know where I'm going.
That'd be the day.
I wish.
What are these little blue things?
He's
Can't wait
agnostic.
for
He
the
doesn't
day.
know if they diddled the kids. Okay.
I can't wait for the day Pope Francis just comes out and says, "You know what? I don't even really believe in God that much." The Pope.
You know what, guys? I'm actually a big Richard Dawkins fan.
But yeah,
It's my number
Omar,
one
you've
idol.
been a bit more in the dark about this because we've been talking very intellectually, not calling you not an intellectual, but very philosophical with this, Omar. Would you like to bring a new topic to the table that would help?
Oh, I mean, I was thinking that one from God would lead on to the afterlife one. We already kind of did that last time, but it'd be nice to hear what Josh thinks. Is there an afterlife, Josh? Or like just because someone doesn't believe in God, do you think that there can't be an afterlife?
I think that the main condition for whether there's an afterlife is like if you believe that there's another component to sentience beyond just your brain. And I don't think that there's any proof of that. So I don't technically think there's an afterlife. But I mean, again, it's unfalsifiable. There could be. I'll have to find out when I'm dead.
What if there was an afterlife? Which one would you want it to be? That was the other question I'd like to ask.
I mean, heaven would be nice to go to.
Really? Oh yeah.
Be a nice place to hang out.
Oh no, there's other places that are pretty good too. Like the idea of reincarnation is pretty cool.
I think the idea of reincarnation,
apart from the time when you get reincarnated as chicken.
The
idea get murdered immediately.
Reincarnation is more morally just than the idea of like heaven versus hell, because obviously, hell is like a utilitarian nightmare, but
yeah, it's not a vibe.
But like, if you could go to any afterlife, surely you'd want to go to heaven rather than just to say like this world again.
Well, actually, Omar, can you talk to us a bit more about the afterlife in your religion,
Islam,
please?
Oh, what just hit me?
Yeah,
Sell us your religion, please, Omar. Convert us, please.
I'm gonna convert you. I don't actually know like a time. I think there's maybe 7. I think it's 7 levels of heaven. Why am I? Sorry, I'm starving. That's why. I'm gonna die. Oh,
I thought you weren't on the surface yet. Anyway.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
I just made it.
What was I saying? Sorry, yeah, I think there's 7. Is it 7 levels of heaven and levels of hell? And after we die, there's a one singular day. I don't know when it'll be. The day of judgment. We get judged for all that we've done, basically.
Wait, is this after you're in heaven, or is this?
No, before heaven and hell.
Okay.
I'm about to die.
But some people who are already in heaven have kind of dodged that bullet.
Hey guys, speaking of the afterlife,
I've actually been confused. Is the when you say there's the day of judgment, is it like a different day for everyone? Is that just the day that you die?
No, it's the same for everyone. So we're all gonna like die at different points.
So when I die, am I gonna have to kind of chill until the day of judgment?
Yeah, I presume that's what it is, man. I think we just get sent to the like a Wii menu for a bit. You know, just I just
see.
died. I don't know how that I guess it's after humanity's like completely gone,
Right.
because that's the only way it makes sense, I guess. And then we're basically judged for our actions, and if you're a net, I think positive, I guess you'd go to a level of heaven. And then if I mean, the thing is, I think God is going to be quite forgiving as well, so you'd have to have done some really bad stuff to be sent to hell, to any level of hell. But it's basically God and his angels, who we believe basically live on your shoulder throughout your life. So there's one on your left shoulder, one on your right shoulder, and they just observe everything that happens. So it's like ultimate accountability for throughout your life.
Do they appreciate it when I chuck salt on them?
I don't know. Try it, man.
No, because you know about that whole thing, like, if you spill salt, you should chuck it on the devil.
Oh, I don't even know about that.
You don't know about that? Oh.
I will do that. No.
Yeah, the idea is because the devil's on one of your shoulders. You have to make sure you put it on the right shoulder, though, otherwise you're putting on the angel. By the way, who died?
Oh.
Sorry, just to...
Oh, I died.
There you go.
What actually happens, guys, is that you respawn and then Will TPs you back.
Yes, it's just TP you back to where you died, so we can continue on.
You just continue, bro.
Yeah, but
yeah.
And
then, if you don't go to heaven, you go to hell with Shaitan, who is the devil, basically Satan. And one thing that's really interesting about a lot of religions, they intertwine a lot. So like in the Quran, you've got Jesus, but he's called Isa. Who else you got?
Okay.
It's funny cause how similar both Christianity and
like I think Mary's also in the Quran as well.
Islam kind of in response to Christianity, like it's like a continuation.
I think Islam was first, wasn't it?
I think I don't even know. I'm gonna pretend I know. I think it's becoming the most popular.
Yeah,
Islam.
it's
the most like fast growing, but I don't know if it's the first.
I have a topic actually.
It's pretty old.
Why does everyone hate Jews? It's just like historically.
I don't. What do you mean, everyone?
Just historically, why do people hate Jews?
They killed Jesus. I think is a big part of the.
Oh, did they? Oh, right.
Well, he was Jewish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it makes any sense, but I think that's why, like, that's like the thing.
That's what people seem to forget as well. He was also Jewish.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
And to be fair, even before that, they didn't have the easiest time. I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure they were like slaves, and then like they got wrecked by the Romans.
Yeah, they haven't been vibing.
I feel like part of the reason why might be because doesn't like the Jewish ethnicity kind of originate from the Middle East? Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think so. Yeah.
Just geographically, they're in the exact right position to just get fucked by literally everyone.
Yeah. It's just funny as well how like a lot of cultures just immediately target them too, though, as well. Like even recently in the news, actually, do you know about the Kanye West thing?
Oh my gosh, yeah, man.
Yeah, oh god, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
How my guy literally met a president, like a previous president of the country, and 2 days later, he's literally saying that he likes Hitler.
It's the Biden persuasion. Like, what can he say?
Doesn't that? No. It was Trump he met.
Oh my god.
Oh, Trump. Sorry.
It's Trump.
So, like, what does that say about? What does that say about the modern political parties in America?
It does say a lot.
Like, one of them is literally hanging out with outright Nazis, like self-admitted Nazis.
Yo.
Well, to be fair, if Trump was gonna like come out as a Nazi, I feel like no one would be surprised.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy.
His literal
The grand
his main
reveal.
campaign was literally walling off an entire other country.
I'm really glad that we learned
Thanks,
from World War II, guys.
History repeats itself, man.
I'm really glad that we
That
moved
reminds me
past.
back. That reminds me of earlier. Actually, you talked about a topic about how treating people badly is where treating people after you win in a war says something. Do you remember what I'm talking about here, Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Josh said that, didn't he?
But do you remember the exact quote? Because I can't think of it. But
So what I was saying is that I feel like it's a fairly standard expectation that civilizations throughout history will invade each other, and since that's kind of standard, I feel like the better way to determine morality is how you treat the other civilization after you've invaded it.
yeah, and I think that going off of that, it reminded me of like the actual real life, like how the world wars went, basically, because the idea of World War One was the war to end all wars and all that shit. And at the end of it, once they won, like the Allies won, they just treated Germany like complete shit.
They treated everyone terribly
Versailles
after World War One. Not just Germany, but Germany.
Oh, not just
too.
Germany either. Sorry, yeah, but I'm just mainly focused on Germany because that's the one that.
Yeah, I mean that's
I remember.
It's the big one.
In the end, guess what happened? World War II occurred because they just treating them like so much shit, and also a list of other factors, but part of it was because of how badly Germany was being treated by the Allied nations after World War One, because they just blamed them.
It's literally like a textbook example of that cliche, like eye for an eye and the whole world goes blind quote.
Yeah. And then my God, there's like so many fucking pigs everywhere.
Damn.
Sorry.
Where are you guys at? I don't know where I am.
I've run off
sailing to greater lands.
Okay. Here we are. Here we go. This is good.
Tell me when you find one.
Okay.
Yoink.
I'm just walking around in some snow, bro.
Is that how you do it? You what, mate?
So I realise you spawned me back. Well,
one?
can you TP me, please?
What?
Josh, have you found one?
What?
The pool.
Oh, I found a lava pool. Yeah. I'm doing it.
I'll come to you 1 minute. I'm gonna teleport to you.
Wait, would you mind TPing me? Because I don't know what I'm doing, guys. One thing I was going to ask you guys, just like completely off topic. Do you guys want to continue with some morality questions, or can we just chat? Have you guys been watching the World Cup?
Yes, I
Because
have.
apparently there's been a lot of upsets.
I know
in it.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I've been all about that because that shit was
What's happened to my game?
very awful to hear about, to be honest, because it really put me off it.
What happened?
Josh, no!
I fucked this up a bit, but it's fine. There's still plenty of.
What's happening to my game?
It'll be fine.
I'm stuck in a
bit of an L, really.
I don't know what's happening to my game. Can someone TP me? I'm gonna die.
Oh yeah, sure.
I
don't know what's like really quick. If you could TP me.
But yeah,
Thank
so
you.
I figured
in a nutshell, for people
who said upsets, I thought you were talking about like someone won unexpectedly.
No, so the idea is, do you know how much do you know about Qatar?
I understand now that you're talking about how loads of people died making the stadium.
Yeah, well, not just.
I was actually talking about like just football, but I mean we can talk about that. So that's a good topic to.
Sorry, Emma.
That's fine. It's fine. I was gonna get onto that a bit later. So what's going on here?
Bro.
Yeah, Qatar not the best human rights record.
It's not.
No, they're not doing very nice, friendly things.
So I don't actually know too much about this. Is the main thing that I think a load of people died trying to make the stadiums?
People died
basically in a nutshell,
I think.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So mainly Qatar pretty much relies completely on slave labor for it, and they have actually publicly addressed this as well. But the idea is that Qatar was like in the making of the stadium for the World Cup approximately 6,500 people died.
Jesus.
Just building it.
I thought it was lower than that. I thought it was about 5,000.
And obviously that is kind of to be fair, you've got to consider over how many years this has been led up to. But at the same time, it's a case of regardless how long it's taken, unless it's taken like 50 years, that's a very high number, and it's alarming like that. The working difference was that like kind of shit for it.
It's pretty terrible.
The answer to that question, Josh, is no.
I thought didn't people die in the Rio one as well? Was it just not as bad there?
I don't know. That's the thing. It gets so glossed over. You just don't think.
Yeah, they're not gonna like.
It's definitely not being glossed over this time.
I guess they didn't come
the
out.
The only reason it was talked about with them was because literally it was so public that like there's the numbers were so high that literally they could not like
they couldn't hide it.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, it needs to be addressed basically.
There's a village right here. Anyway, sorry.
Wait, where?
Sorry to keep talking about it.
Yeah, send coordinates.
It's right next to the portal. Anyway.
But
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is one where you don't really need much moral discussion. It's quite clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
It's a clear cut.
But again, it's perspective. Maybe the Qatar government really just believes what they're doing is correct by wiping out an entire race of people because they like men.
I honestly don't know very much about the the specifics of the Qatar government. Like, if it's like more of a theocratic place. Like, do they at least pretend they have democracy there, or?
I mean, to a degree enough that they can host the Olympics, not the Olympics, the World Cup there, I guess.
The World Cup.
Can't non-democratic countries host the World Cup?
I don't think Ukraine's going to be hosting it anytime soon.
Yeah,
Ukraine's
probably not.
Democratic at the moment.
It is, however, it's in a war zone.
Yeah.
Where did you guys go?
No. What I mean is like,
okay.
I don't know. Like, isn't Saudi Arabia aren't they a theocracy?
Yes,
I'm
they are.
pretty sure they can.
So I think actually,
now
you're right. They don't have to be democratic. I think they just have to be, tolerated enough.
They have to be our friends.
They got to bring in the money.
Have to be an
that's the main
member,
one,
like within that little inner circle for the
Olympics, UN or
Olympics, fucking whatever it's called.
The World Cup.
World Cup. I keep screwing up. Yeah.
They have to not be North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So North Korea especially would not be
table, mate.
how aggressive and toxic they are.
Oh, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, puts into question that. Despite that, though, it's completely glossed over the a lot of media. Like, you still see pubs of loads of people just going to just go to see the games. I was one of them as well. I still go watch the games.
This is an interesting question. What's the morality of enjoying something like, say, like the Washington Monument that was built by slaves, or things that came at great cost?
It's a case of, there's a quote that I've heard a lot about, which is called, basically it just says you separate the art from the artist kind of thing. And in terms of the Washingtons,
Okay.
I think the entire point was I feel like that one particularly could not be really excused, though. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a bit of an hell.
Yeah, it's supposed to define the land of the free, and yet it's built by people who have
America.
have got all their freedoms taken away. So, yeah. By the way, I found Flint.
Oh, it's the parakeets. Oh no, there's a parakeet.
So yeah, but there are some cases where there'll be some artists.
So enjoying
done some bad things.
Kanye West music.
Yeah, exactly. If you enjoy Kanye's music, it doesn't automatically mean that you hate Jews.
Yeah, okay.
The issue comes with
Wait, what was the quote? Was it
separate the
separate
art from the artist?
So go on.
Yeah.
artists.
The issue with that comes from
I
like
get that.
if technically when you stream Kanye's songs, you are giving him money, so the separation
that is
isn't
true.
fully there. Now I actually still think it's alright to listen to his music, but that's definitely I feel like the separate art from artist isn't always enough.
Can I give a controversial opinion?
Okay.
Oh no,
I
you're
don't
gonna say
think
it's right,
Kanye
weren't you?
West is a very good music artist.
He's a very good artist.
I think the production for what he does is actually very good, but I think what he does with his music is awful.
Oh.
I've actually never listened through a Kanye West album, so I cannot judge.
Because
yeah,
my interpretation, like you hear like the biggest like emphasis of what I mean by that is say Donda. You know, remember Donda? It's a joke.
Donda.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Glob Glab album.
But yeah, like it's stupid because he's just literally done it just to make fun of people, or like I think it was make fun of Drake. That was not that one. I can't remember exactly. That was the Scoop Diddy Boop one. Point is, yeah, it was stupid because he's not put any thought into actually like the meaning or like things behind the songs. Scoop Diddy Boop especially, actually, that's a better one than Don.
I'm sure he does put meaning. I think every song you have to put meaning behind.
Is not.
I'm sure he has.
He is not like a lyrical genius in any right. He's actually. I think he's stupid to be quite honest.
When I hear like I've
got a few of his songs. I think they
talk about his
Oh fuck!
Talk about like which are his best albums. It's not often oh my god. It's not often I hear Donda come up as like.
Oh my god!
Like usually it's like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or something that comes up as one of his best.
Oh yeah, I think I know which song that is.
So like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't judge it based on Donda.
Like say Power though.
Donda was like
really
after
good.
he went insane as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think as well, like, so you know, Power, the song Power, it's a very, obviously like one of his most viral songs. I think the production of that is really good. I really like the beat. But even listening in the lyrics of that, he's kind of just, I don't know, it doesn't sound like he's putting,
I got what you mean.
He's like,
okay,
you know,
I got what you mean.
What should I do with all that power?
Power.
It doesn't sound.
I can't.
He sounds like he's gone to a music booth and just done it on the first take, and it's like, this will do.
We've literally. It's
doesn't
funny
sound
how
like
we've naturally arrived at literally one of like the second topic that I would have picked after morality, which is like what makes good art.
Yeah, I think honestly, my opinion of my god, my opinion of
what the okay. Guys, I literally have some blocks in that set.
My opinion of what makes good art is, in a nutshell, just literally if you're putting in a lot of work into something, regardless of how good that thing might turn out to be, it's subjective. I think that makes good art.
Really?
Kind of thing. I think if you put enough time into something and you mean something to you, then that is good art.
Okay. That's kind of a wholesome.
It's very good art. Don't get me wrong. Some art can be better than others because it's public opinion. So I really like Bruno Mars, for example. But you might not like Bruno Mars, but that's just fuck.
I do not have enough food for this shit. I'm leaving.
I had a golden apple and I still died. Right, I'm coming.
Well, can you TP me, please?
Oh yes, I will. In a sec.
Thank you.
Where's my shit? But yeah, so that's the way I look at it. I think it's the amount of time and effort someone's puts into the art piece and what they put into improve themselves for further art pieces as well.
That's wholesome, man.
I think that one of the reasons it's very hard to come up with guys, honestly. I think one of the reasons why it's really hard to come up with a good like consistent answer for what makes good art is just that art has multiple different purposes, and so different art is going to fill different purposes. So, for example, some art is meant to just entertain, and so its ability to just entertain is what defines its quality, whereas some other art is meant to communicate an idea or express an emotion or whatnot. So I kind of feel like actually, okay, no. What I was about to say is that means I feel like art is as good as like how well it achieves what it sets out to do. But then I just realized that would technically mean that if like Nazi propaganda was really good at converting people into Nazis, then that would be good art, and I don't really agree with that. So
wait,
back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board, eh?
Yeah. Wait, is almost done. Oh, no.
I left. Oh, hello. I left the nether.
I'm going back in, boys.
I had one. I'll go. I've got one block. I'll come back in.
I need to grab my shit. But yeah, that's what I'd say. I think there is also a case of talent and experience with stuff. I think I'm actually slowly becoming more and more picky from what I listen to, like specifically with music, because I'm realizing kind of like what my idea of what I like to listen to is something that's actually produced well. It can be something. It can be pretty much any genre, as long as I think, wow, there's been a lot of effort put into this, and I can really feel like it sounds good.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also feel like creativity is like originality is an important thing for me.
Yes, definitely.
Like if something sounds cliche, even if it's well produced, I don't like it as much.
And this brings me on to another lovely piece of
I like
drama,
cliche
like
stuff.
creativity. Oh fuck. I'm gonna die. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, the gaming industry. I think I've talked about this before. It fucking pisses me off.
Yeah, you talked about this last. I think last stream or the stream before, maybe.
Yeah, I did. I think.
Sure.
What about
it? Pisses me off because of, like I think it is been turned into one of the worst like art mediums kind of now today.
Really?
Because of how like formulaic and unoriginal the stuff in it can be.
The movie industry is doing the same though.
No, however,
yeah, that's
there is something. I'm about to die again. You fucking kidding me.
Capitalism ruins art.
It does, honestly.
Just say.
But what I was gonna say was like, oh, did you die? Right.
I did, yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah. So I was gonna say, literally, like, you never see. Well, actually, to be fair, you do sometimes see in movies, but in no other real industry will you see a product that is unfinished when it's released.
You have a very good point.
The gaming industry is the only industry properly that can, for some reason, just get away with releasing shitty, like, unreleased products and still racking lots of money.
Yeah,
I do see your point. I feel like I can point to like, I don't know, like, there is.
I've got the most recent example actually. I have
like Rise of Skywalker, for example.
Oh,
where it feels like
that's written badly, but it's technically a complete movie. It's a case of imagine a movie that, like, that can just be a bad movie. That's different to being like incomplete. Like imagine having, say, the like half of the movie, and you have to pay a subscription to see the other half of the movie. Which, to be honest, actually is starting to be implemented. I'm not gonna lie.
But, like,
it's probably starting. Yeah. So
I don't know. Like, so when you say these games are unfinished, do you mean that like the mechanics are broken, or are you just referring to like games literally being released unfinished and them saying like, "Oh, we'll release an update"?
Both. I mean, so they have an unfinished story, or they like literally it's buggy as shit and they need to patch it, or literally like a case of it's clearly been rushed in production and it's just an unfinished game pretty much. Like it's not
But I feel
how
like
the
you could
intended thing should have been, but they've released it anyway.
I feel like you could still have that with the movies though, because even if like, you know, there's a beginning, middle, and end, you can have like plot holes or things like that, which mean it is sort of unfinished, but it is finished.
For me, yeah,
as
like,
a
the
product,
movie equivalent
I guess.
of that is something like Rise of Skywalker, where like they
Rise of
blatantly
Skywalker,
like
yeah.
there are plot sort of points in that movie that they literally just forgot about like halfway through the movie. Like there's this whole running thing with Finn going like, "Rey, I have to tell you something," and then he just never says it.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I forgot about
like
that.
that is just blatantly a like unfinished movie, but like I do see what you mean.
Yeah,
because...
do you know what I have to say though? I think for what it was, okay, I think this like Rise of Skywalker was a bad movie, but I truly believe there was literally nothing they could have done any better about it. Like the second movie was so fucked that literally they've just already put the series into the ground, and you can try. But
the second movie
it was
left
just gonna
them
be
with
shit.
like nowhere really to go with the plot.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why they literally pulled out something completely out of the arse when they'd say, "Oh, Palpatine's back."
Just
like that is the worst decision, but also like, yeah,
I do feel like they should have at least attempted what the second movie was like trying to set up, and like have, you know, whatchamacallit, Kylo Ren be the main villain, and like it would have been lame, sure, but it would have been better than that.
Yeah. Gosh, for you.
No, I guess it's a lot more complicated to think of it as a trilogy than when you have to make 3 movies and they all have to intertwine. But yeah, I thought the first movie was alright, to be fair. What happened in the second movie again? I can't remember.
Dig.
Hey, that's my second one. Oh, you got it back.
But yeah, that's what I'd say. But I think it's a lot more apparent in the gaming industry anyway. And like, have you seen the recent Pokemon game where it's just a bug? There's so many bugs and like.
Yeah, I feel like
all that shit.
Movies have higher standards of like professionalism for sure. I think.
Yeah, no,
probably because of the fan bases of them.
Yeah, and it's just surprising to me how like people will just still buy a full priced licensed game for something that's actually incomplete, and the way they can just get away with it by saying, "Oh, it's fine, we'll just patch it over the next year."
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, but I think the way to get over it is because there's like a big time lag. You're saying like even Call of Duty takes like 3 years to make a game, right? Oh,
I'll get. Oh, come in, Josh. I'll get you back in. Don't worry.
Are you guys in the
yes.
We've literally found the heart. Just for the people listening, we've literally found like the worst Nether fortress ever. It's like impossible. There's like 100 things everywhere.
Wait. Oh, I've got. Oh, all right. Your stuff is by my dead body.
I love your dead body.
You guys should see what I'm doing right now. I'm just in a boat going around the ocean.
Okay, I got all my stuff back.
So peaceful.
Oh, do you want me to teleport you, Emma?
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh yeah, sure.
Come die with us.
I want to spawn in my boat though, please. Can I bring my boat, guys?
Ah!
Yeah, we're just gonna be
Sound
dying
of a man.
Our Spotify audience.
Oh, sorry, the Spotify audience playing.
To be fair, what time? How long have we been going for?
What are the ethics of rage games, guys?
I think we're going for 2 hours. I think we should wrap up. To be fair, wrap up the recording.
Josh, did you say what the ethics of rage quitting?
Yeah. So, thank you everyone.
Funny, isn't it?
For listening to the Podbox.
Thank you for
tuning in, everyone.
It was lovely to have you.
Yeah, Josh Cast.
Sorry. Josh Cast.
Lovely to have you two guests.
Thank you, Josh, for coming on.
Yeah. If you do like the podcast, feel free to rate us 5-star on Spotify or give us a like on YouTube if you're watching us there. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for
everybody.
listening. See you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Wow, so professional.
All right.